All right. I did have to push a few more buttons than I was expecting, but there we go. We're back. So we are joined today by Greg Roth with We Ride Y.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
My cat was knocking things over. He likes to do that to get my attention.
That is exactly how they should do it.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
That's their job. I think I'm like, is my dog outside or is she laying in her crate right now? I can never remember anymore. She's a husky. She decides where she wants to be and she alternates all the time. So she's in one of those spots right now. But I don't have any cats anymore. So the stuff stays on my counters. That's one perk that I get out of that one. Skywalker wants to know already, what is your cat's name?
Milo. Well, I have two, Milo, and then the other one's Sunny. She's a
Milo and
white
Sunny.
cat.
All right.
She's taking a nap. Milo, whenever I'm busy, that's when he wants my attention, is when I'm busy or when I'm doing something.
Fantastic. I'm gonna bring the logo down.
The thing about cats, from what I understand, is when you're talking, they think you're talking to them. So I'm talking to you right now, so he thinks I'm talking to him, so he wants to come over and play and get my attention.
Of course. Well, that's fantastic. So this year was the premiere of We Ride Y not too long ago, and right now it is playing all around the world at film festivals and things like that.
Well, no, we premiered it at the Seattle International Film Festival Film Center at the end of June, to two sold out nights, two sold out screenings, because we wanted to get it out to our community, and we wanted to get it out 6 weeks before Fred Hutch Obliteride 2025. So we thought that was a good time. They came out that night, and then a month later we won our first award from the Touchstone Independent Film Festival for Best Documentary for the month of July, and we're entered in a national contest. We did a virtual screening for a group of people, and we're going to be doing more of those, and I'll probably talk about that in a bit. And then we're entered in several film festivals. We're waiting to hear back on quite a few, and then we're going to be entering in a lot in 2026. So 2026 is really going to be the year for wider distribution. Eventually, we'll have it on streaming platforms. We have been making it available for a few people, but right now we're just kind of getting started, and we're working on our marketing distribution strategy. And also, we want to engage others and other partners to help us get it out to the world, because we think the message is really important. And love your shirt, by the way, because it is really for Fred Hutch. Fred Hutch Obliteride, been participating in for 10 years. And so the movie really celebrates that, and celebrates the great work that Fred Hutch does in terms of fighting cancer. But more, I think it's really about a celebration of community, and when people come together for a common cause, like raising money for cancer research. Not only is it powerful, but the experience is really special, because it's really about love in action and community coming together to heal, to create a safe space, because the subject matter is dark, right? It's cancer.
It is.
And it impacts everybody, either directly or indirectly. And that's kind of what the film's about. And a lot more. But I think the biggest message that we want to give is that we all need each other, especially during the hard times, and that cancer doesn't care if you're Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're gay, you're straight, you're black, you're white. It's an equal opportunity disease. Steve Jobs and Paul Allen, two of the richest men in the world, succumbed to cancer. So that's, and my mom, I lost my mom. And so the movie is really about why we do what we do. This is our why. And,
I got involved with Fred Hutch. My wife last year was my first year streaming for Fred Hutch as part of Raids for Research. So awesome. And I've been talking with them as well about World AIDS Day in December, because I lost an uncle when I was 15 actually, to AIDS. And last year I lost an aunt to cancer. And 4 years ago I lost another aunt to cancer. And just 3 weeks ago I lost a great uncle to cancer. And so just that it is something that has affected me all around my life, for every year of my life, somebody somewhere close to me is being affected by this, and to watch everyone, in my story, and I know in your story as well, we have a lot of loss that has kind of given us focus and given us direction. And there's a lot of people that are here with the Raids for Research team, who are survivors, who are
Mhm.
celebrating 1 year or 5 years or
Yeah.
so of being cancer free, and that we use that language still because we don't look at it as a cure. We look at it as
Right.
it's continue to monitor, continue to watch for
Right.
it. And so there's just this constant level of treatment that comes out of this, um, that we all kind of live with and have around us. And the work that
Yeah.
Fred Hutch is doing to diagnose and treat,
Mhm.
prevent, all of these things are so important.
Yep.
And now, with all of the funding cuts that have happened this year, it's just even more important than ever to really give them everything that we can. Give me just a second here. A dragon named Fox. I don't have alerts on this channel, because, or on this scene, so that we can have a conversation. But thank you so much for the raid. We're glad to have you here. And it looks like you were last stream in the long dark. I want to just say thank you for coming in. Thanks for bringing the raiders over. We are joined here today by Greg Roth, the producer and star of We Ride Y, a new documentary,
And the director.
and the director, all of the above.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did all of it. and
you
and
did a
and there's
lot
a
of
lot of
work.
people. Well, there was a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
We have an amazing team of people, which we want to definitely talk about. Because I did
Oh, of
not do
course.
this alone. It's definitely a team sport for sure.
Yeah, I've got the poster up on the
Yeah.
screen, and I'll share it a little bit bigger later on, where it does have
Yeah.
those credits at the bottom. I know Jason Tang helped a lot
Yeah.
with videography and
Oh,
that side
he
of things.
was.
And
Yeah. Wouldn't have done it with anybody else but Jason. He amazing cinematography, and
oh,
he's our
absolutely.
director of photography, and um, what he does is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Everything he does is brilliant.
absolutely. So you mentioned this is kind of the why.
Yeah.
Would you share, without going too deep, because I know we want people to watch the show when it's available
Yeah.
and get out
Yeah.
there and see it. But can you share a little bit about your
Sure.
why and why you decided to make this project?
Sure, and also invite folks to go to our website, because you can go do a deeper dive in terms of what the subject matter of the movie is about. But I'll just give you the pitch here. My mom
Yeah.
died of cancer when I was 10, and my brothers and I both lost. It impacted them obviously too. She was only 31 years old, and she had a double mastectomy. They didn't have chemo. They didn't have research back then. And cancer wasn't even as common. People didn't even talk about it back then
Yep.
in the 70s. She passed away, and I buried it for years. And then in 2015, I decided to really get back into being healthy, and really take
Mhm.
charge of my fitness. And I got a bike. It was a hybrid bike, and I started to get back into riding. The following year, I picked it up again, but I kind of was a weekend warrior. Like I'd ride on the weekends, and then during the week not much, and then when during the rainy season didn't ride at all. So 2016 I started picking up biking again. Then one day it's July, I'm watching the Tour de France on TV, and I was just transfixed, and I said, okay, I want to be able to ride longer, and I want to be able to ride faster, so I'm going to get a road bike. And I got a road bike, my first road bike. Decided to enter my first cycling event, which was Fred Hutch Obliterate, and that was in 2016. And as when I entered it, I was thinking, well, why am I doing this? And I thought about my mom. And so the first Fred Hutch Obliterate was really a way to honor my mom and raise money for cancer research, which I did. And I discovered this amazing community of people, and this event was just brilliant. Not only the cycling event itself, but the kickoff party, and how all these people came together. And even though every person involved that year was dealing with cancer directly or indirectly, you go to an Obliterate event, and there's just joy and a celebration of life. And so the next year I said, well, I want to have a team, and I want to honor two other mothers. And so I chose Jenny George and Ashley Berg. Jenny was a cancer survivor. She had leukemia when she was 12, was told she wasn't going to live, and definitely wasn't going to be able to have kids. Well, she lived, and she has a son named Atticus, who's DJ Atticus on KXP. Tune in and
Oh, that's
listen to
fantastic.
KXP. He's 30. He's over 30 now. So that was a miracle. And then there was Ashley Berg, who was at stage 4, and she had a daughter who was the age I was when I lost my mom. And so um, I decided to ride for her. And then on top of it, I said, I want to document this story, because all three of these moms have so much in common. They're very much alike. They all love music. They all just love their children. They're beautiful human beings. Um, and I just thought, like, if they all knew each other, they would all be friends. They would all be in the same tribe, you know? Let's kindred spirits. And Ashley and Jenny did ultimately get to meet each other. And if you see the movie, you'll see their interaction, see them together. But anyway, we documented the story of the film, and it takes place in 2017, Fred Hutch and Blood Ride 2017, and Fred Hutch Blood Ride 2018. So we take the audience back to that period. And it was really, it was bittersweet because it was beautiful because Ashley was there, and then 8 months later she passed away. And we document that in the film, and we kind of, and she tells her story, and Jenny tells her story, and then I tell the story of my mom and my brothers too as well. They're in it, and really and really kind of, you know, the why is who, you know, why do we ride? And it's for these people we love, but also we ride for Fred Hutch, because not just to raise money, but the people there are amazing. Everybody I've met at Fred Hutch, it's not just their job. It's mission purpose driven work, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's what I got. Like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of this community. And I've been blessed so far. I mean, I haven't gotten cancer, but, you know, given the odds, it's a good possibility, right?
Right.
But I think just being part of this community, making this film has been very healing for me. Raising the awareness of what Fred Hutch does, and this cycling event they put on every year to raise money. And I think this year they're going to raise $10 million. Our team that rode this year, we had a 40-person team. We raised $150,000. Last year we raised almost 100. So the team that the name of our movie is on our jerseys. We partner with Cascade Bicycle Studio, who are amazing friends of the community. I've been taking my bike there for 7 years. We formed a team and we partnered together, and collectively in the last 2 years we have raised $250,000 for cancer. And it's part of the story in the movie. It's in the epilogue of the movie, of course, because the thing that we want to drive home is there is no finish line, and it's on the poster. There is no finish line to this work. There is no finish line to our participation. You know, even we told the story that took place in 2017, 2018. Well, 2025, we're still doing it, but we're doing it even bigger than we were before. And we honor Ashley Berg every year, and I honor my mom every year, and we shine the light on Jenny, you know, celebrating the fact that she's a cancer survivor. And so this is something that we get to do every year. I made a promise to Ashley. I made a promise to her family that every year she would be honored. And so it's a beautiful way to not only raise money, but to just honor the people that we love, the people that we've lost, and people who are still fighting.
Yeah. I love seeing each year when you do Obliter Ride, and you post the clip of you walking up to the wall and putting that "We Ride For" and writing Ashley and
powerful,
Jenny and
man?
All of their names, and having that moment, and it is really powerful. And to see everybody else that has written those names up
all
there,
the names,
all of the names that everybody that's out there, it's not just people who are coming out and just saying, oh yeah, I'm out here to ride, or I'm out here to run a 5K that's for charity or something. It's like, no, the why is such an important piece. And it was funny when I first heard the name of your documentary, We Ride Why. I was like, I feel like I'm speaking Yoda speak. And then I was like, no, it's worded that way. It's not why we ride as if it's a question. It's we ride why. We're going to answer that. This is the why. The why is why we ride. It's not as simple as just like,
that's right.
It's not the question. It is the why.
It's a question and it's an answer.
So big.
You know, that's what's so crazy, because like everybody has a why. Everybody has a story, and every single human being is a story. And this is our story, but our stories are not uncommon.
Right.
I'm not the only one who's lost my mom. My mom is not the only one who's lost her breasts. Ashley Berg is not the only one who's lost her breasts due to a double mastectomy. It's millions impacted. And then the collateral damage, because it's the individual impacted, right? But then it's the people that are around them, their friends, their family. and that loss. Ashley's been gone for 8 years, and that loss is still felt. I still feel it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm obviously, directed a movie and produced a movie, so it's right there in my face every day.
Right.
And that was the thing that's been so hard about this. It's been a blessing, but I can't. It's not like, okay, I can move on because the movie's finished and it's out, but I can't move on because now it's about getting it out to as wide of an audience as possible, either in theaters, streaming eventually, but really getting it out, not about me, but the message.
Mm-hmm.
And that the message is what really truly resonates with people when they see me. Hopefully they see themselves, or they see their friend, or they see their brother, or they see Ashley, they see their mother, or they see their friend or their sister. Because she's everybody. Jenny, cancer survivor, she's everybody, and those are the things that are common. And we may have different ways of being in this life. And that's the beauty of life. I think it's what makes it so incredible, is that there are so many different ways of thinking and being. But when it comes to, nobody gets out of here alive. Death is the great equalizer. That and going to the bathroom. And so, because everybody has to go to the bathroom, right? But if you think about it, we're really all the same. We're really all connected. And when you're faced with death, or when, you realize that all the other stuff doesn't matter, And that's what really is kind of sad with the political situation. And I'm not getting into politics. I refuse to. But I will say this: the current system is putting a hold on cancer research.
Yeah.
And that's not only impacting lives and people's jobs and the ability, and about Fred Hutch. They're doing the cutting edge research. Obliterate in particular, they are the money they raise allows Fred Hutch to do the real cutting edge research, like the immunotherapy, and they're making progress, and they've got great momentum, and then suddenly, they want to pull funding. I don't get it. So
millions and millions of dollars that gets pulled, and it's not even necessarily like one of the things that people we've kind of talked about it here, and it's not always apparent, but it's not necessarily like the chemicals and the blood and the individual patients that are there that all of a sudden they're cutting funding for. It's all of the supplemental stuff, the test tubes, the gloves, the food that goes to take care of patients, the rooms, the cleaning of labs, all of these things that are supplementary to security from the building, all of this. They have to have this or they can't do the research. And then others come in and they look at it and they say, well, but we think you should be able to do it for, tens of millions of dollars less. And it's like, not with this level of research, not with this many people involved. There's over 6,000 people that are working for Fred Hutch. There's 50 different companies that have spun off out of Fred Hutch over the 50 years that they've been in business, from all of the different things that they've discovered and made. And that to see such a big cut to such a company that's doing such amazing work, and that they have data to programs on hold.
They have the data to show they're doing
across
the work.
The board.
That's what I'm saying is, look, here it is. No, the Fred Hutch is the leading, they're the leaders in this work globally. And, they attract people from all over the world to come here, and they partner with other cancer research centers. And because that, that information, that data is important for other organizations to see. They're not competing necessarily, and it's a not-for-profit. They're, the people that are there, and I mentioned it earlier, I get really passionate about this. They're there because of its mission, purpose-driven work. They want to make a positive difference in the human condition. And also, everybody you talk to, and here, and you shared it with me, you shared your story with me, everybody has a story.
That's right.
So and so that's what makes, Obliterate, like events like Obliterate, even more important, because it's for fundraising, because that money is not coming from, that money for the cutting edge research, that's where it's coming from. And then with all the other stuff on hold, I don't know. I mean, I think that's what makes what we're doing even more important. I think it makes what you're doing right here more important, and what your wife's doing, because this is life and death, real life stuff, man. And so getting that message out there, and you know that a lot of people don't know this, but did you know that Fred Hutch has the highest not-for-profit rating that you can get? If you look it up, there's
That doesn't
actually a
surprise
rating,
me
a
at all.
hundred, a
Yeah,
hundred, which is, and I gotta say, I gotta share this. I'm somebody that I've been cynical of fundraising most of my life. Where's the money going?
yeah,
Okay, somebody's getting rich. Okay, well, where's this going? Where's this going?
yeah.
And then when I got involved in Obliterate and I met the people here, and then I did my research on the organization. I did a lot of research,
I
before I
bet.
made the movie, because I want to tell the story the right way, but also if I'm going to get behind something, I want to know it's really in alignment with what I value, and
That's
it
right.
is, and that's and so I think doing my part in the community to get the message out about the film is really a vehicle, no pun intended, but a vehicle to shine the light back on the why, and then particularly Fred Hutch and organizations like Fred Hutch that are doing this kind of work, because there's other cycling events across the world raising
Of
money
course.
for cancer. This is just the one that we thought here. This is in our city. Fred Hutch is this is a Seattle movie. It's a love
Yep.
letter to Seattle. It's a love letter to our community, and Fred Hutch is such a part of our community, like the Space Needle, man. Fred Hutch, the man, professional baseball player, named after him, Seattle Rainiers. People they forget, who's Fred Hutch? Yeah, he was a professional baseball player, and the institution is named after him. And there's fundraising events that go on throughout the year with the Seattle Mariners and the Seahawks, and Fred Hutch is really plugged into our community and creates community. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, I sound like I work for them, but I don't. I'm just very passionate because of my own experience and what I've gotten from participating with them and from meeting the people. It's really easy to do this.
It's so easy to do it, and I hear it in your
Yeah,
voice, and I hear it in everybody that's on the Raids for Research team as well, because all
yeah,
of us have had very similar experiences,
yeah.
whether we've gone out and toured the facility and looked in the labs, whether last year I got the privilege of going out for the closing ceremony and
Mm.
talking with Guppy actually on their stream, and we got to talk a
Oh,
little bit
Nancy
about
Guppy.
just not Nancy Guppy, no, not
Oh,
not Art
I was just
Zone
saying
and almost live
she.
Nancy Guppy.
Well,
That
she did
I would
a
love to
piece
talk
on the
with her, but
movie. She did a
yeah, I
piece
know.
on the movie. Yeah, and that was like when you said Guppy, I go that she was so awesome.
Guppy is one of the scientists at Fred
Oh,
Hutch who does a lot of
okay.
their social side of things, and so
Oh, cool.
he's somebody that's been a researcher right out there and
Ah.
i- in the labs doing the work himself. And he
Mm.
actually decided to kind of, I don't know if he shifted or if he just, in addition to, has conversations with creators like us. And so I get a chance to
That's
sit
so
down with Jackie
awesome.
and him and talk about the work that Fred Hutch was doing, as well as some
Yeah.
advancements. We talked about a study that was happening last year in analyzing autoimmune disorder and viral
Mm.
transference with men and women, and the difference that testosterone makes in actually whether or
Hmm.
not people develop autoimmune disorders. So Guppy and I got to talk
Interesting.
just a little bit about that,
Yeah.
and
Geeking
being
out.
able to, no, seriously, and I love
No,
to nerd out
it's
about
it.
everything, you know
Oh, me
this.
too.
And
Oh, yeah,
so,
I do too. That's why you and I get on really well, because we just geek
yeah,
out. Like
for
we've had
everybody
some
else,
yeah.
I want to say I've known Greg since like 2012, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have spent hours talking outside of music venues all over the
Oh,
city of
yeah.
Seattle, just nerding out on what is going on in life, what is your
Technology,
current passion,
yeah,
technology, what is happening in the
whatever.
world, like
What is
so much.
happening?
And I don't want to keep you, and I do want to talk just a little bit more about the movie, but I
Mm.
also want to say I'm just honored that you came on today, because it is so fun to put you in the hot seat after all of the shows when you were
Oh,
with
yeah.
Seattle Music Insider and interviewing the artists, and they're
Yeah.
carrying around the camera and your microphone and
Yeah.
asking all the questions to people, and to be able to put you on the other side of that feels
It's
really
kind of,
nice.
yeah, it's really a trip, because now, during our premiere, and now it's funny because now Jason and I are doing our thing, and we've covered artists for years, and he still does, and now people are starting to cover us,
Yeah.
but in a good way, because it's really not about us. It's really about the movie and the message. That's how
Oh,
I
of
think of it.
course.
I see myself as a conduit more than anything, and so or maybe a spokesperson too.
Hmm.
I'll own that. But that's part of this is not just about putting a movie out, but we want to be able to have premiere. Like at our premiere, we had Juan's there. He's a
Oh yeah.
cancer survivor. Marco Collins was our MC. He's a cancer survivor. They got up and shared their stories. We brought somebody that I met in the community that was a cancer survivor. She came out and shared her story. What we want to do with the film at these live screenings, and we want to actually go into different cities and different places, even throughout Seattle, and screens, but we want to have a program. We want to be able to show the movie, but we also want to be able to speak into, the topic, and people share their stories, and then do Q&A where people can share their stories and create community within our screenings, which we did successfully. It was amazing. In a special night where people can be seen, where people can feel safe, and maybe even hug people they've never hugged, exchange phone numbers, and build their own community and support system, and share, because folks that came to our movie, it resonated with them because they've been impacted like you have. And so to meet other people who have been impacted and to be able to connect and have that support, that's what Fred Hutch Obliterate does. It creates this community, and then you make new friends and you meet new people, and then you have your support system gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then not only do you have the support, but then you can also go out in the community to make a difference, which is also healing. And when you're doing it with other people, it's pretty amazing. Like it's one thing to go out for me to ride and raise money for cancer. And I did that during COVID,
Right.
Because, but we did it virtually. But there's just something really powerful about being in an event with thousands of people all participating at the same time with you, and that energy and that love and that joy, there's nothing like it. And we wanted to capture that in the film, is to really capture the spirit of what Obliterate is. Yeah. And then also constantly answering the question why throughout the movie. Why is Fred Hutch important? Why is Obliterate important? Why is Ashley Berg important? Why is Judy Roth important? Constantly answering those questions. And I think we did that. And I'm really proud of what we did. And now I feel we have something really solid. We're going to make a few corrections and updates, but we feel now it's all the energy goes from creating the movie to creating a plan to get it out to a massive audience.
Absolutely. And I am really looking forward to it. I was going to come to the premiere, and I was stuck out of town that weekend, and I was kicking myself.
A lot of people were, yeah.
It was so rough when I'm seeing all of my friends are going, and then I get the text. They're like, "Are you coming tonight?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I need to, but I'm hours away and I can't make it." And it was rough, but seeing the success of it has just made me so happy. I know how hard you all worked on this project and how long you've worked on this project. I want to say, gosh, I think it was pre-COVID when we all got together at a cycling place to actually do kind of a little
Metier
pre-party at Metier. Yeah.
That's when we launched. No, that's really good. You were there. That's right. Because at Metier in 2017, that's when we announced we're doing this. We had a teaser trailer with footage, and we had minimal footage because we had just started shooting. And it's been a journey. I mean, we started a long time ago, and then COVID hit, and then, Ashley passed away. I had to step away from it for a while because it was hard to relive that, and then also dealing with my mom's death. I mean, this was a therapy session. Making this movie was like it was hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. I feel that everything that I've done, including covering music, including my own experiences, in life, good, bad, whatever, everything that I've experienced was meant to happen so that I could make this film. Yeah. And then now it's about, and we're going to have bonus content we're going to be creating. Also, Ashley's daughter was at the premiere, and we're doing a piece of bonus content on her because she's an adult now. She was only 11, 12 during the movie. But yeah, I think a lot of people were out of town. Like, we wanted to get the movie. We promised to have it out this summer, and if we didn't, like how it is in Seattle, people just scatter during the summer. And so so right after Memorial Day weekend, a week after Memorial Day weekend, and 2 weeks after the Seattle International Film Festival, we said, okay, that's the date. that it's either, if we don't do it on this date, then we're going to have to wait till after the summer pretty much. So we
Yeah.
did it. And a lot of people that want to be there, like you, were not able to be there. So we are going to have another screening soon. We're working on it. We're going to have
Fantastic.
screenings in also different cities, because we now feel it's summer's over. Things are starting to settle down. Now we want to really focus on showing this to people, start, this year, but then also again next year, wider distribution. But we're working on some virtual screenings. Like I said, we had a virtual screening before where we had a screening for a group of people, and they sat at home in their homes all watching it together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like on a Zoom, and then we did a QA afterwards, and everybody was on the screen asking questions about the film. But I really feel that this is something powerful, that there's something about seeing this in a theater with others.
Absolutely.
That's really powerful, or sharing it, whether it be at home or in a group with others at the same time. And then of course you can watch it alone too, because it's a very emotional movie. There's a lot of emotional peaks and valleys in it, just like life. And so that's really kind of what I'm focused on now. And so even doing this right now is helpful, right? It's getting more people to know what the movie is, and creating a demand for it, so that when we do show it again, people are going to want to come see it.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the community and how important it is that this is pulling together community, bringing people together for common purpose or common experiences, and allowing us to kind of lean on each other, and also not just lean on each other for support, but also for joy and for finding that again. That, when you're out there riding, those endorphins come up, and now you've got that team of people. And I am sure that when you all get together, it's all smiles and a bunch of good things that come together in that moment. And it's like, we're here to fight, but we're also here, because we're all here together, and we're all making this happen.
It's powerful.
It really
shared
is.
Experiences are powerful, and it seems like we have, less of them, as we get older, and less of them with all the advent of media and AI, whatever, all the technology, which is, and I love technology, but I think I think when used, there's a way it can bring people together. And I think things like this, and things like Fred Hutch Obliteride, and being able to make a film and get it out to a global audience in a way that we wouldn't have been able to like 10 years ago. It's pretty amazing. I mean, there's so many ways we can go about this, and I just feel like we're getting started. It's really the start. Like, we just really getting started, because we just finished the movie in June, and then we had at the beginning of June, and then we showed it at the end of June. And so I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we're just getting going. So
it's just 3 months.
There's a lot to do.
It's a baby.
So, and also speaking of living room shows, we're looking at partnering with Carrie and Kristen from Seattle Secret Shows,
Fantastic.
And doing something in conjunction with them, like having a combination screening live music event. How cool would that be?
Would love to see that happen. You know that I'll be there, because I haven't. I've missed one in like over a decade. So
we'll schedule it around your availability, man. You have to be there. Like if you're not there, it's just not complete.
Not quite the same. I know.
Especially after doing this,
No, I will definitely be there, and I hope that we can work something out. That sounds fantastic. I can think of already a few venues that would be very well suited for making something like that happen. So,
let's
chat further about that.
I may be picking your brain on that too, because that's part of it, is like we're looking at different possible venues. One was I think Fremont Abbey would be one possibility. The
Abbey would be absolutely beautiful. Now we're getting into like deep into Seattle here. Some of the world might not know what we're talking about.
Oh, that's true. Fremont Abbey.
Fremont Abbey. The Abbey is a nonprofit art center. They've got a couple of venues, the Abbey and Ballard Homestead, which is more like acoustic stuff. Fantastic for arts in the Seattle area, especially if you want to see some independent acts, some touring acts, and different styles. The Tractor already has a projector and a screen on the wall.
The Tractor.
So they have a projector sitting right by their disco ball, and they've got a screen that'll drop down right on the back of that stage, and they can do a seated venue. So Tractor would be a fantastic place, and just pick up the chairs and it becomes a dance floor right after. So would be a really great way to do that.
Wow, you sold me.
Oh my God, who just dropped $100 anonymous? Thank you so much for dropping $100 donation, and that also activates a little bit of that match. So you got $100 of my money going in there as well. So thank you so much for throwing in that donation. Every one of those dollars is going right into helping out at Fred Hutch, and we really appreciate what you're doing there and helping out with this charity. Greg, I do want to ask, let's give a shout out to some of the other people that worked on this project with you.
Sure.
Since we're talking about creating that community and working together to create something amazing.
Absolutely. So, of course, Jason Tang, he and I have worked together, Seattle Music Insider, and covering shows. And when I decided to do this, he was the first person. There was nobody else I would have done it with, because he's my favorite, one of my favorite photographers, and just one of my favorite human beings. And so doing it with him was a no-brainer, and there was nobody else I would have done it with. And Bubba Jones, who I've known for years, covered his band Furniture Girls. He's a really well-known producer. He's worked with some really well-known folks. He's working on film himself. So brought him in as number one, just a really good sounding board for me, because it's a very emotional project. There's a lot going on. And so Bubba was really instrumental in helping me I would have conversations, and I'd walk away from those conversations with clarity and actions, right? But he's also sound engineer, sound designer. He also, at the end of the movie, there's a song that I actually sing on that I did with Tobias the Owl. That he wrote a song specifically for the movie, and we performed it together. Bubba engineered it. Also, he's our sound designer, so he's making sure the quality control for the audio and the sound was solid. And then we have Andrew Jocelyn is our music supervisor, and so we wanted him to compose all of it, but he's just really busy.
He's insanely busy. He's got curation for the Seattle Symphony, and he's like president of the Northwest chapter of the
Grammys.
Grammys and everything. Yeah,
he's a busy guy.
Fantastic.
But he wrote the theme music for the theme song that we used throughout the movie, and then also his music is really kind of what set the tone for the rest of the music that our editor chose, because we chose some unlicensed music as well, but we mainly used Andrew's music, and then his guidance in terms of, here's the other thing about Andrew. It's great. He's a great composer, but he's also very knowledgeable in terms of licensing and making sure that we're compliant, that we're doing everything that we need to do so that we're not, it's not going to come back to bite us. And so
the DMCA and things like that don't come back to hit you, because I know he's been working in the trenches on some of that to figure out that copyright law and how to protect musicians who obviously it's important for them to have that protection, but also to protect those who use it and license it and use it in movies and things to protect them and the work that they're doing as well that's adjacent to the musicians. So I've really appreciated the conversations we've had on that topic.
Yeah, Andrew is really, the thing is not only is he a talented composer, but he's also a source in terms of just, he's worked on a lot of movies, sound, like I think he does the music for the True Crimes.
He does a lot of different ones like that. I have at least one movie sitting on my shelf over there. He hates the movie, but I have it anyway because he's did the soundtrack, and I talked to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, of all the movies you could pick up that I did the soundtrack for."
What was the movie?
I want to say it's Hatfield and McCoy's.
Oh, okay.
He's done so many different ones, and then he did one of those. He did. I don't think he did like Kesha's latest album, but her most recent going back one album, he did all the strings and composition for that. Obviously, he did a lot of the stuff with Macklemore. Like he has been all over the scene.
I've known Andrew since 2011, and to see his career progress has just been amazing, to the point to where now he's big time, but so the fact that he's even like part of this is amazing. It's an honor. And here's what we got bonus, and not only did we get Andrew at the very beginning when we started this, when we could actually call and he'd pick up the phone, but he recommended Wands to do the narration. So we got Wands, who opens up the movie with the narration. It's beautiful. He does a great job. We were going to use more of his voiceover, but the subjects of the film really were effective in telling the story, and usually use narration to fill gaps. We didn't need it, but we wanted him, and so to have him at the beginning of the movie in the opening, and when folks see it, they'll get it. but it's just beautiful. It's just perfect what he did. And then Andrew, we got his wife Madison is my story editor, so she and I worked together pretty closely the summer of 2023, flushing out the story before we handed it off to editing, right? Because we needed to flush that all out so that we could actually have a visual storyboard and really flush out what the story was and go deeper into the and there's a lot of stories all connected. It's a multi-layered film in terms of you have different human stories all connected to tell the greater story. So we worked really closely together, and she's amazing. And then our editor is Michael Gonzalez, and Michael sits in Austin, and he worked with Melodic Caring Project for years. So you've seen a lot of his work, and that's how I met him. And he also did the Seattle Music Insider website. So we've known Michael for a long time. If you notice, the trend here is that every single person that's involved in this project, we've known, they're friends, they're family. You know what I mean? We didn't just pick random people. We picked this group of people because of the relationship we have with them and what they mean to our community and who they are. You know, Wands is a cancer survivor too. And so, you know, this group is special. And the fact that it's kind of like a family movie in a way, because it's all done with friends and people that I admire. I'm probably one of the only person that hasn't won an award, you know, because Jason got nominated for a local Emmy for a piece that Seattle Channel did on the film, on me and our film, and then Wands is a Grammy winner, and then Andrew's won awards, and Bubba's won awards, and I'm sure Madison's won something, but it's not about that. But I'm just saying is these are what it means is these are folks that are really professional, that are really great at what they do. And they contributed, and the fact to have those individuals is just an honor, because I wouldn't have done it without them, because I felt like if this is going to be what I want it to be, it has to be with these people. There's nobody else. Like, there's nobody else to be music supervisor besides Andrew Jocelyn. I had a backup plan, but it would have been in-house. We would have had Bubba take on some of those duties, but even Andrew was the person in terms of just his vision. When I gave, like, when he did our first trailer, I said, Andrew, here's what I'm thinking. I didn't tell him a lot. I said, here's where I think some of the emotional cues are, but I said, I don't want to tell you too much. You'll figure it out. Just do your thing. And then he did it. He sends it back. I'm going, yep, that's pretty much what I wanted. And that's how it was. Yeah, it was really smooth. And so once we had that, then and then Andrew I'd go to for certain guidance, and then he would again check in, make sure that we were doing things within compliance, which is really helpful to me. And I also learned some things along the way, what I need to do going forward on our next project down the road. So, yep, that's fantastic. Great team. I call it the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I think you've already kind of answered this question, but I want to ask you another question here. And you just talked about the team that you put together here. There were a lot of people that have some accolades, but that's not why you chose them. You chose them because these are friends. These are trusted
who they
people.
Are,
they're people you've partnered with. You know what they're going to do. You know they're going to work hard. You know who they are as human beings. Exactly. If you were going to give advice to somebody who wanted to start up a project like this on gathering up the people, deciding to do the project, you know, we're looking at Fred Hutch here. So Fred Hutch has their own like donation and events portal where you can go on to their website and actually kick off your own events once you've started down the road of gathering up some people and just getting that idea brewing. What would you give as advice to people who are just starting out on that journey?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. You have to have a vision for what you want. And I had a clear vision. Visually, I mean, I knew what I wanted visually, aesthetically, because it's something I'd been worked on before. It's something that I'd been in the ideation phase before I even talked to anybody else about it. And I had a vision for what I wanted for the story. Even though the story wasn't fully fleshed out, I had a general vision of what I wanted. And so my advice is you find people that are bought into that vision, that see the vision like you see it. And that get your vision, and then you pick the people that can manifest it. I knew that if I had a certain vision, certain shots I wanted, or certain visuals I wanted, I knew Jason would be able to not only deliver, but even come up with his own ideas that were even different than mine, or even better than mine in some cases. You want people that challenge you. That are willing to be honest and tell you if something's working or it's not working. That's important. You have to have people you trust. You have to have people you trust that get your vision, and then you get out of the way and you let them do their thing. Directing is not telling people what to do. It's directing. That means I'm going to direct you in a certain direction. You know the vision, you get the vision, you get what this is about. Just go and be an artist. So even with Michael, our editor, there's times that I wouldn't even be in communication with him for a month. I would say, Michael, just be heads down, do your thing, just be immersed in the material. We would have deep conversations, then he would go, and then he would show me what he did, and then I would sit with it a few times. I'd have to watch it a few times because my first visceral reaction is going to be really emotional. I can't think clearly. And then I had to watch it. Then I could actually give him feedback. And the thing with Michael is he got the vision, and he and I were working so we were working in lockstep so well that very rarely were there big wholesale changes when he'd send me things. I would go into the detail and start, tweaking things and tightening it up and cutting things out and going in to really make it better. But the foundation, basically was in line with my vision. So again, in a nutshell, find people that are enrolled into your vision or bought into your vision and that can execute on your vision, and then get out of the way and trust them and get out of the way, and then jump in at the right time when needed.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that. So not just finding the people that you trust and having the vision to get going, but then being able to let go.
Yeah, letting them do what they do. That's why they're great at what they do. And Andrew Johnson does not need me to direct him. Wands did not need me to direct him on the voiceover. I said, Wands, just bring, I did my own version of it first. And I said, but you make it yours. And he did, and it was perfect. And Jason Tang, I don't need to tell him how to shoot. I can suggest, here's a shot list. Here's some things I want you to get, and then do whatever, and then go crazy, knock yourself out, have fun. Michael, same thing on the editing side. I told him, I was very specific on what I wanted and what I'm thinking. We had deep conversations, but then you just got to get out of the way and let him go back to the lab and do your thing.
Absolutely.
And just be with the material. Not only on a functional level, but emotionally and spiritually, right? You have to, there's the execution of the editing process. And I edit myself. I've edited sound, I edit video, I create content myself. But you have to almost let the story tell you what it wants, because it's a living thing in itself, right? So the story is everything. And I have a saying that I would tell everybody, go, okay, in our universe, the story is God, okay? And we're here to serve God. The story, it's always about serving the story. So any piece of content you pick, every choice you make in that moment, is it serving the story that we want to tell in that moment? And so the editing process, the editing process was a year long. It's very meticulous. It requires hyper focus, and every moment has to count. It's an hour and 10-minute movie with credits. Every moment, there can't be one wasted moment. So you imagine editing 5 seconds, 3 seconds at a time.
I can, because I tried to do it and I gave up. I started going, what? Nope, this is too much. I mean, I've been looking at my own backlog, and I have thousands of hours of footage of stream and conversations like this, and some, a lot of it's playing games and things like that. But there are some good conversations, and going through and just trying to even pick apart this into what we would make this into. And if we, I'm just kind of imagining putting myself into those shoes. That would be taking this conversation we've just had, that's just about an hour, and saying, okay, we're going to keep 5 minutes of this.
Right.
What 5 minutes is the most important? What words are the most important? And then not only what are the most important, but what did we not cover in the other 55 minutes?
Right.
That is going to give this enough power to actually hold that spot. And it's a lot of work to figure that out. I can't even imagine how much footage you all have filmed over the years.
Oh man, hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage filmed over the course of several years. But you just nailed it. I mean, and it gets back to you in some ways you just kind of illustrate. So if this was going to be a movie, or you were going to edit to a 5-minute piece, you would ask yourself this question before you start the process: what's the story I want to tell here?
Exactly.
And then you pick the pieces that are going to tell the story, but it's always the story driving the choices, right? But to
Absolutely.
do that, if you have an hour like this, if you were taking an hour of this to condense it into 5 minutes, it's going to be a very meticulous process if you want to do it right, if you want to really nail the story. Now here's the thing. There's going to be editing tools, AI editing tools. I know I'm digressing here, but think about this: where you go in and you tell them, okay, these are the 5 most important pieces of the story here. Pick out the pieces here, and then it would narrow it down to a smaller, and then you can go in and maybe work with it. So, but that's what editors do. So if you
Yeah.
take AI, the AI would just be basically, it's like a human being
Just a
that's
pre-cut.
take, yeah, it's a pre-cut, right? And so, but yeah, you get it, like you understand the process, and so you empathize with the process. So you can
Oh,
imagine
absolutely.
imagine taking hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage of subject matter of somebody, like my mom that passed away, home movie footage, and then Ashley in particular, her footage, and then footage of her in the hospital during her last days, that too. And then picking what is truly the best. It's not what's just going to make the story work. What's the best photo? We have 20
Yeah.
photos. It's not just like they all work, but what's the best one? What's the one that's going to make the audience feel? What's the one that's going to really drive home what the story is about in this
Yeah.
moment? And that's the thing that was challenging, but also it was really cool. And then when it's all done, I go through it. I probably watched the movie 200 times, and I went through it with it, and I was picking it apart. I was
Of
taking
course.
things out. I want this photo swapped out. I want you to cut 2 seconds off of this so it's timed with this. Little things that you do that the audience isn't going to see, that if you don't do them, it's not as powerful of a film. And so that's a lot of what I did after the editing process was complete, is to go in and start really tweaking, and then a list of like 250 corrections that I provided Michael. Then he went and made the corrections, and once all those corrections are made, then you really have a product that's tight, that's powerful, that really delivers on the message you want to deliver on. So again, the story is everything. The story drives everything. And so that when you know that, it it does make it easier to get focused and knowing what to work on. And that's the biggest challenge, especially when you have that much footage. It's daunting. I would have days where I would just be depressed because how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to freaking tell this story? And involving somebody that passed away, how's the family going to react when they see it? How am I going to tell
Right.
this in a way where the families that sees this, it's going to be positive for them. I got to
Hmm.
get everything right. It has to be accurate. It has to be, and the good news is Ashley's family loved it. And
Good.
they came to the premiere. Her daughter came to the premiere,
Hmm.
and her dad. And that was to me everything. And Fred Hutch loved it.
Yeah.
We're hoping to partner with them more and see if maybe we can even do a screening for Fred Hutch employees. Would love to have the Fred Hutch community help us get it out there. But um,
Well, they were in
that's
the
when we
chat
knew.
while we were talking here, so
Oh,
they're
cool.
in on some of this conversation. I'm gonna send them the full discussion here
Oh,
when we
great.
wrap up as well. So
But
it's gonna go to that obviously is the streaming side of things, but they're in touch with the Obliteride stream
oh
too,
man,
and
that's great.
um,
It's really
yeah,
a great. It's funny. I live in Fremont, and I can literally look across the lake, and Fred Hutch is right across the lake.
yeah.
They're my neighborhood. They're part of my community so much.
Fantastic. Well, Greg, I want to just say thank you so much for taking the time today and
Oh,
joining
thank
me
you.
here for this discussion, for sharing a little bit about We Ride Y and the team and the event, and then also a lot about Fred Hutch and as we said, our whys, because
Yeah,
that's so
I mean,
important. And
without Fred Hutch and without the Obliteride, we wouldn't have a movie because there wouldn't. That's the. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's really the backdrop, and providing a space to where we could tell these stories. And I think Obliteride does that, and Fred Hutch does that. It's a space where everybody needs to share and not feel like they're alone.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to share the trailer one more time with everybody as
Awesome.
we let you go. And you and I have a lot to talk about the next time that
Yeah,
we're standing outside of a
we
venue,
sure
and
do.
hopefully we find ourselves there soon. And
Is it?
uh,
I was wondering. We have a GoFundMe campaign that we are raising money to for marketing distribution for the film and to cover
Yeah.
post production costs, and then 10% we're donating to Fred Hutch. Is it okay to drop it in the chat here?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'll find it. I didn't even think about that until just now. So is there enough time to do that? If not, that's okay.
Yeah, if you drop it to me, I'll drop it into the chat right now. I'm going to be live for another hour and a half. So, yeah, we
Oh,
can
great.
absolutely share it here. And then if you'll share it with me when I put up the clip, I'll put it into the YouTube
Sure.
description and everywhere that we can. So anybody that's seeing this can check that out.
Great.
Yeah,
I'm going
absolutely.
to drop it in right now. And then is there any, like in the websites, if you want to know more about the movie, it's weridey.com. We have a YouTube channel. We're on social media. Come follow us on social media. We update in terms of when screenings are going to be through our social media channels. And then also you can sign up to be on our mailing list, and eventually we're going to have a newsletter. So if you do want to see the movie, or if you want to, watch it from home, we can, probably arrange to do that for you. But I just dropped the GoFundMe link in
Fantastic.
there. And then our
pulled it
links
from
are included
here, and I put it over into the Twitch chat
Great.
as well, so everybody can see it there. And
Awesome.
I'll be sharing it out on Discord and, like I said, the YouTube and
Well,
all
it'll
that.
be good to see you
too,
again
so.
in person. For
Yes,
sure. It's been a while.
I don't think I've seen you since Timber last year.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you because I watch your channel. It's really entertaining. You're awesome, by the way. So I feel I've seen you, but we haven't seen each other in person.
It's been face to face in a while.
Right,
yeah,
virtually. Yeah. But
so,
thank you so much for this. I'm really this is a lot of fun, and I just appreciate you giving us a platform to share the message of and get the movie out. That's really important.
Absolutely, we're all working towards the same fight, which is bringing an end to cancer, or at least making progress in this fight and working on it together. And what you're doing is a really big effort towards that, both with the movie and all the writing and the teams and everything else that you're doing. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come over here and spend an hour with us out of your time as well to really,
we're all in it together, brother,
and celebrate that message.
Yeah, we are all in this together, man, and nobody should. The biggest message I want people to get from this movie too is, you're not alone. Nobody should suffer alone.
Absolutely.
And love can do a lot. Love is why we do this.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you again, Greg. I hope you have a wonderful night. Like I said, we're going to share the trailer. We'll share the links out, and I'll send you a copy of this once I get highlight posted and everything. So
we'll see you soon. Thank you again.
All right. Yeah, of course. Bye. Bye.